You just racked the bar after a set of squats, legs shaking a little, chalk dust still in the air. Good feeling. Then some guy 2 racks over starts doing leg extensions like he's got somewhere to be. And you catch yourself thinking, wait, is he wasting his time or am I? That right there is the oldest argument in the gym. Compound lifts versus isolation exercises. Squats versus leg extensions. Bench versus cable flies. And everybody's got an opinion. Usually a loud one. So let's actually settle this. Compound exercises move more than one joint at once. Squat, deadlift, bench, row, pull-up, your hips, knees, shoulders, elbows, they're all doing something at the same time. And a bunch of muscles are sharing the work. Isolation exercises lock everything else down and move just one joint. Bicep curl, leg extension, lateral raise. One muscle, one job. For back day, a row is compound. Your lats, rear delts, biceps, and grip are all fighting to keep the bar moving. A straight arm pull down is isolation. Your lats do the whole thing while your arms just stay locked in place. For shoulders, an overhead press is compound, moving your shoulder and elbow together. A lateral raise is isolation, just your shoulder joint. Nothing else invited to the party. Simple enough, but here's where it gets messy. Half the gym treats compound lifts like they're the only real training, and isolation work like it's for guys who skipped leg day and want a mirror muscle to compensate. That's not how any of this actually works. I've been on both sides of this. Early on, I basically lived on machines because they felt safer, and my growth stalled out for almost a year without me knowing why. Then I swung the other way. All barbells, no machines. And started dealing with joint pain because nothing was ever getting finished off properly. Neither extreme worked. That's the whole reason this topic's worth your next 5 minutes. You've heard this guy. He's the one who tells you isolation work is a waste of time. That if you're not squatting and deadlifting every session, you're basically not training. He'll say compound lifts build functional strength, and isolation exercises just show muscle. Like the muscle on your arm isn't real unless a barbell was involved. He'll act like a bicep curl personally offended him. You'll see this guy post his program online. 3 compound lifts a day. Nothing else. And 2,000 comments calling him a genius. Meanwhile, the guy doing 4 sets of hammer curls gets called out for not training seriously. Same gym, same goal, completely different treatment. And honestly, neither of them has actually read a single study on the topic. Turns out the research disagrees with both of them. A 2023 review pulled together 7 separate studies asking exactly this question. Single joint moves against multi-joint moves, and found no real difference in muscle growth between them. Not a small difference, none. Basically a coin flip either way. One of the studies inside that review had guys do lat pull-downs on one arm and straight bicep curls on the other for 10 weeks. And their biceps grew almost identically, no matter which one they used. So the guy who won't touch a curl bar, he's not more advanced, he's just missing free reps. I'm not here to trash compound lifts. I use them as the base of every program I write. They're efficient. One working set of squats hits your quads, glutes, hamstrings, and core all at once. You get more muscle work per minute than almost anything else you can do. They also let you move real weight, and moving real weight is what drives your nervous system to adapt and get stronger over time. Which matters even if your only goal is looking better with your shirt off. If you only had 20 minutes a week to train, I'd hand you a compound lift every time. No debate. But here's a catch most people never think about. Compound lifts have a weak link problem. Think of it like a chain. On a squat, your quads might be able to handle way more. But if your lower back or your grip gives out first, the set's over. The weakest muscle in the chain decides when you stop, not the muscle you're actually trying to grow. Your chest might have 3 more reps in the bench press, but your triceps tap out first and end the set for everybody. This is where isolation earns its spot. No shared load, no weak link. If you're doing leg extensions, your quads can't hide behind your glutes or your lower back. They're the whole show. You can push that one muscle closer to true failure than a squat will ever let you. That matters most for muscles that always seem to lag. Real delts, hamstrings, triceps, the ones that quietly ride along in compound lifts without ever getting pushed hard on their own. No, senor. Your triceps are not getting fully trained by 3 sets of bench press and a prayer. This is also why beginners can get away with almost pure compound work for the first year, and why it stops working the same way later. When you're new, everything's a new stimulus, so the weak link problem barely matters yet. A few years in, your body gets efficient at compound lifts. The strong muscles do more of the work, and the lagging ones stay lagging unless you go isolate them directly. I've watched guys bench the same weight for 2 years straight, wondering why their triceps never changed, while skipping every pushdown on the rack right next to them. There's a detail most people never hear about. Muscles don't grow evenly across their whole length just because you hit them with one exercise. Research comparing guys who did the same compound lift every session against guys who rotated in a few different compound and isolation movements found the second group grew more evenly across the whole muscle, not just in one spot. Think of it like mowing a lawn with one pass versus going over it from a few different angles. One pass gets most of it, a few angles get all of it. That's the isolation argument in one sentence. It's not about replacing your big lifts. It's about reaching the corners your big lifts miss. Take your quads. A squat mostly hammers the muscle through the middle of its range and leans on your outer quad sweep more than the inner one. A leg extension, done through a full range with a slight pause at the top, hits your quads at an angle a squat physically can't replicate, no matter how heavy you go. It's like holding the stretch right at the exact point your squat lets you off the hook. Neither one wins by itself. And if a video promises you one magic answer here, that's your sign to close it. Compound lifts give you efficiency and raw strength. Isolation work gives you precision and fills in the gaps compound lifts leave behind by design, not by accident. The chain only grows as strong as its weakest link, and isolation work is how you go back and strengthen every link, one at a time, instead of hoping the whole chain gets stronger just because you keep pulling on it harder. A simple way to run it: build your session around 1 to 2 compound lifts for the muscle group you're training that day. Then close it out with 1 or 2 isolation moves for whatever's lagging behind. Compound first while you're fresh and strong. Isolation after to finish what the compound lift couldn't reach. A couple things that quietly wrecked this whole approach. First, doing isolation work before your compound lifts. Pre-fatigue your quads with leg extensions and now your squat weight drops. Your form gets sloppy, and you get less out of both exercises instead of more. Save the isolation work for last. Second, treating isolation sets like an afterthought. One rush set of 8 reps with a weight you're not even close to failing on doesn't count. If you're going to isolate a muscle, actually take it close to a failure. That's the entire point of doing it. That's the one advantage isolation has over compound. Don't waste it by half-repping through it while you're already thinking about the parking lot. And third, swapping your compound lifts out entirely, because isolation feels easier on your joints that day. Isolation supplements the big lifts. It doesn't replace them. You still need the strength and the systemic stimulus only a real compound lift gives you. You don't have to pick a side in this argument. Let me explain it one more time so it sticks. Compound lifts build the whole structure. Isolation work finishes the details the structure leaves out. Once you get strong and efficient, the other one gets you finished. You need both, and the research backs that up. It's not just my opinion. So if your program right now is 100% one or the other, that's your sign to fix it this week, not someday. Doesn't need to be complicated. Pick your compound lift for the day, get your working sets in while you're fresh, then grab 1 or 2 isolation moves for the muscle that's been lagging behind and actually push them closer to failure. That's the whole system. Stop letting some guy in the squat rack make you feel bad about your leg extensions. He's the one leaving gains on the table, not you. Drop a comment and tell me, what's the one isolation exercise you always skip, and the one you secretly love? If you made it this far, you already know your training's about to get better. Next up, we're breaking down how you keep growing once your body stops responding to the same workout. No gym membership required. Click here. Let's keep going.